Many people don't actually know what hazardous waste is. So what is hazardous waste? Hazardous waste is waste that has substantial harm to the health of the people and the environment. What are some examples of hazardous waste? Well, some common hazardous waste items are paint, drywall mud, refrigerators, and construction materials. Most people don't know the chemicals used in refrigerators to cool the inside of it are hazardous to the environment. How does hazardous waste affect the environment? A major example of harm to the environment caused by hazardous waste was the 2010 oil spill. The oil leaked into our oceans and polluted and wasted our ocean and killed our animals. What can we do to stop the spread of hazardous waste? The only solution to this problem is to educate. We need to educate the people about what we should do with our hazardous waste. We need to teach them how to dispose of it, and we need to teach them how to look out for what hazardous waste is. We interviewed a few people about what they thought of hazardous waste. Okay, I'm going to ask you a few simple questions about hazardous waste. First question is, what is hazardous waste?
Hazardous waste is stuff that's bad because it can damage river water or something. It's sort of chemical-based stuff.
Yeah, good answer. Okay, next question. How does it affect the planet?
It could damage water systems and hurt fish and other animals that live in water.
It can also seep into our Earth's soil and poison the plants that we grow. Okay, how do you think we can combat this serious issue?
Have specific compost waste bins or something in each household.
Hazardous waste trash cans, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Alright, I'm going to ask you a few questions about hazardous waste. What is hazardous waste?
I think hazardous waste is things like paint and batteries and even some of the components of things like microwaves, stuff like that.
Yeah, great answer. Okay, how does it affect the planet?
I think it puts chemicals into the environment that can be hazardous to animals and people.
Yeah, it can also leak into our water systems, which is really bad because we drink that and animals drink that, so we definitely don't want that.
Very true.
Okay, last question is, how do you think we can combat this serious issue?
I think one important way would just allowing people to know where to dispose of it. I think there are lots of misconceptions about what to do with hazardous waste, and honestly most people just don't know what to do with theirs, so it ends up going into landfills where that's maybe not the most appropriate place for it.
Yeah, great answers. Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be asking you a few questions about hazardous waste.
Okay, sounds good.
What is hazardous waste?
Hazardous waste is something that is damaging to the environment and to us. Usually it has to do with specific elements such as uranium or things that are very heavy and difficult to use. So it's going to pollute our water, it's going to pollute our food, it's going to damage different ecosystems, things of that sort.
Great. Okay, next question is, how does it affect the planet?
Well, it can really change the environment of our planet. So while we cannot necessarily digest a lot of these elements, other, especially microorganisms, can. And so it would completely just change the entire thing. A lot of plants can't use it, it hurts a lot of plants, it hurts a lot of animals, but it's not that it's going to kill everything, it's just going to change the entire environment and be harmful to ourselves.
Yeah, great answer. Okay. Last question here. How do you combat hazardous waste?
So I think the biggest way to combat hazardous waste is just by educating people as to what is hazardous waste. For instance, a lot of people don't think, they don't think about how do you get rid of paint? How do you get rid of paint thinners? How do you get rid of medicines? They just throw them in the trash and assume that they're good. So I think education especially is one of the biggest ways to combat it. And then also just making available ways for people to throw away hazardous waste. That's a little bit more seen and known about.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions about hazardous waste. What is hazardous waste?
Hazardous waste are materials and chemicals that are harmful to the environment that humans have made.
Great answer. Okay. How does it affect the planet?
Well, those hazardous wastes, if they get into landfills, if they get into the water, it has a huge impact on the environment. And so those need to be dealt with in the correct way through different cities, turning it into the city so that they can deal with it so it doesn't have those hazardous repercussions for the environment.
Yeah, great answer. Okay, last question. How do you think we can combat this serious issue?
Well, I know that the city has hazardous waste drop-off spots. It costs money. It's not open all the time. So, the idea of having more access to hazardous waste drop-offs for people and residents of the city, I think would be a really good starting point for the environment and for the city to help deal with those issues.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's super important to maybe get some trash cans out there or something more available to the public. Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
As you can see, hazardous waste has been a long-going environmental issue for many years. If we all work together, we can stop hazardous waste.